I am currently at an impasse. As of right now, I have a strong desire to consume Chex Mix. However, I was also planning on having McDonald's at the conclusion of my workday. My conundrum is as follows. If I choose the Chex Mix, I will not be able to eat the McDonald's later because that would exceed my 2,000 calorie limit. If, however, I choose to wait, I will be forced to suffer for the preceding hours until my appetite is quelled. One may propose that I eat some Chex Mix now and eat some McDonald's later. This proposition is unfeasible. For one, I typically eat 2 bags of Chex Mix, which I have discovered through past experience puts me at the ideal level of satiation. If I only consumed 1 bag of Chex Mix, I would arguably experience greater discomfort than what I am currently feeling. This is due to the fact that I would have the taste of the Chex Mix in most present memory while continuing to desire more. This is far worse than my current state, which is a yearning for Chex Mix, but with only a vague sense of its taste. Furthermore, if I were to take this course of action, I would be limiting my quantity of McDonald's, which would also leave me dissatisfied for the same reasons mentioned prior. I could hardly imagine a world in which I only eat 10 chicken McNuggets instead of 20. Because of this, I have concluded that I must choose one course of action. I have 3 options at my disposal. Firstly, I could eat the Chex Mix and postpone the McDonald's for a future date. This would alleviate my current suffering in exchange for a future suffering. Alternatively, I could accept my current suffering and wait to eat the McDonald's. Thirdly, I could ignore my calories and eat both the copious amounts of Chex Mix and McDonald's. This would alleviate suffering in the present and near future in exchange for a longer-term suffering of future regret and obesity. I believe this option is insufficient for my needs because the suffering would outweigh the short-term gratification. The first option seems enticing, but I would be left with future suffering and nothing to look forward to, which, in my opinion, is greater than the pleasure I would have in the present. This leaves me with only the second option mentioned, which is to wait to eat the McDonald's. I will endure pain in the present, but it will be slightly mitigated because I will have the McDonald's as my proverbial North Star to guide me through my suffering. It seems as if I have solved my dilemma. However, the conclusion I have come to may be based on an incorrect first principle. That is to say, maybe my assumption that pleasure should be pursued over pain is an unsound. Should we instead strive to transcend our natural impulses in favor of an ultimate good that is God's will? Is it better to deny worldly pleasure in exchange for spiritual growth? This would mean that I should forego eating either the Chex Mix or the McDonald's in favor of a simple salad. At first glance, this seems like the obvious choice. But isn't it true that exercising this sort of self-control could make one feel accomplished? Could one assume that I would feel pleasure as a result of my feelings of accomplishment? If I am being honest, were my actions guided by God's will, or were they an attempt at disguising my real intentions? Am I still trapped as a slave to my pleasures? Am I pursuing good as an end in itself? Or are my motivations still guided by a desire to pursue pleasure and avoid pain? I can't help but feel it is the latter. Is there even such a thing as a truly good act? To answer this question, we must first define good. It is either one's intentions plus the end result, or it is the end result alone, or the intentions alone. It obviously can't be the result alone that defines an action. For example, if I decided to shoot someone in cold blood, but the bullet missed the innocent subject and hit a bank robber, would that act be considered good? Most would say no, for if everyone knew my intentions, I would be charged as an attempted murderer instead of being a hero. Alternatively, if I intended to shoot the bank robber but hit an innocent person, my action would be considered bad, regardless of my intentions. Therefore, we must conclude that a good act must be defined by the intention plus the result. Because of this, no human act can be defined as a good act because an individual's underlying intentions are the selfish pursuit of pleasure over pain. Do we give to the poor because it is a good in itself, or do we do it to feel good about ourselves? Do we worship God because it is a good in itself, or do we do it to reach heaven, which is the height of pleasure? Would we hypothetically follow God because it is good, even if we knew we would go to hell anyway? I believe we intuitively know the answer to these questions. For this reason, there can't be such thing as a good human act. Therefore, it doesn't matter if I eat a salad or not. Oh, look at the time. It's time for dinner.